Most parents lose their child in the first 3 seconds of a conversation, and they don't even realize it. Not because they said something cruel, not because they shouted, but because they responded the way every adult is taught to respond. If you've ever heard your child say something sharp, rude, dismissive, or sarcastic and felt your chest tighten instantly, this is for you. Because what looks like backtalk is not what you think it is, and the moment you label it as disrespect, your child's brain shuts the door on you completely. The words may still come out of their mouth, but their nervous system has already decided you are no longer safe to listen to. And once that happens, nothing you say after that matters. This video will feel uncomfortable at first because it challenges something most parents believe deeply. But if you stay with me, you'll understand why one 3-second response can change the entire tone of your home, and why yelling, lecturing, or punishing backtalk actually trains the brain to do it more. Backtalk feels personal because it sounds intentional. It sounds like your child is choosing to disrespect you. But a child's brain does not work on respect the way an adult's brain does. Adults interpret tone. Children react to pressure. When a child talks back, what you're hearing is not a character flaw. You're hearing a nervous system under stress trying to regain control. Control is the key word here. Children talk back when they feel cornered, rushed, misunderstood, or powerless. Their words are not an attack. They are a signal, but most parents respond to the signal as if it were a threat. And that single mistake turns a moment into a pattern. The biggest misunderstanding in parenting is thinking that behavior starts in the mouth. It doesn't. It starts in the body. A child doesn't think a response and then feel it. They feel first, then speak. That's why backtalk often comes out before the child even realizes what they said. The emotional brain fires faster than logic. And when you answer emotional speech with logic, correction, or authority, the emotional brain hears only one thing: danger. This is why calm explanations don't work in the moment. This is why punishments don't reduce backtalk long term. They suppress it temporarily and amplify it later. Here's what most parents do and why it fails every time. A child says something sharp. The parent immediately corrects tone. Don't talk to me like that. That's disrespectful. Watch your mouth. In that instant, the child's brain hears rejection, not guidance. Their stress response spikes. Their body tightens. Their ability to listen drops to almost zero. And now you have escalation, louder voices, bigger emotions, and a power struggle that feels impossible to win. Even if the child goes quiet, the lesson wasn't learned. The nervous system learned that speaking equals danger, not regulation. Now here's the part no one tells you. Children who backtalk the most are usually the ones who feel the least heard, not the most spoiled, not the least disciplined, the least heard. Backtalk is often a desperate attempt to be seen when softer signals failed. By the time words get sharp, the child has already been trying to communicate for a while in smaller ways. Tone is the final escalation, not the beginning. This is where the 3-second response comes in. It is not a sentence you say to teach a lesson. It is not a clever comeback. It is not a warning. It is a nervous system interrupt. And it works because it speaks directly to the part of the brain that is dysregulated. When a child talks back, your job is not to correct the words. Your job is to stabilize the state. The response is simple, but it requires restraint. When your child talks back, you say this calmly and slowly. I hear you're upset. That's it. No lecture, no follow-up, no correction. Just those words. I hear you're upset. Then you pause. 3 seconds. Silence. That pause is not weakness. It is regulation. In those 3 seconds, something critical happens. The child's brain realizes it is not under attack. The threat response drops. The emotional brain relaxes just enough to allow the thinking brain to come back online. Most parents ruin this moment by adding more words. They say, "I hear you're upset, but you can't talk like that." Or, "I hear you're upset, but that's not okay." That destroys the effect. The power of this response is that it removes the power struggle completely. You are not agreeing. You are not approving. You are acknowledging the emotion without engaging the conflict. This works because children are not trying to win an argument. They are trying to offload emotional pressure. When you acknowledge the feeling without challenging it, the pressure drops. And when the pressure drops, the behavior changes on its own. Not instantly every time, but consistently over time. Parents often worry that this response will make children think backtalk is acceptable. It doesn't. What it does is teach emotional safety. Boundaries still matter, but boundaries work only after regulation. Correction before regulation feels like control. Correction after regulation feels like guidance. Here's what happens when you use the 3-second response consistently. The first few times, your child may look confused. They expected a fight. They expected punishment. They expected escalation. Instead, they got calm. That calm is unfamiliar, but the brain learns quickly. Over time, the child learns that sharp words are not needed to be heard, and once that lesson lands, the sharp words fade. This response works best when paired with timing. You do not correct backtalk in the heat of the moment. You revisit it later when everyone is calm. That's when you say, "Earlier you sounded really frustrated. Next time, let's find a different way to say that." That conversation actually sticks because the brain is open to learning. Trying to teach in the middle of emotional flooding is like trying to write on water. There's another reason this works that most people miss. Children mirror nervous systems more than words. When you respond calmly, you are lending your regulated nervous system to your child. Their brain borrows your calm until it can generate its own. This is not permissive parenting. This is neurological parenting, and it builds long-term emotional control instead of short-term obedience. If your child is older, especially in the backtalk-heavy years, this approach matters even more. Older children are more sensitive to power struggles. They crave autonomy. When they feel controlled, they push back verbally. The 3-second response removes the control battle. It says, "I'm listening," not "I'm dominating." That single shift changes everything. Many parents notice something surprising after using this approach. The house gets quieter, not silent, but calmer. Arguments shorten. Recovery is faster. And children start self-correcting without being told. That's because the brain feels safe enough to reflect. Let's be clear about one thing. This is not about letting children say whatever they want. Respect still matters, but respect is taught through modeling, not enforcement. Children learn respectful communication by experiencing it, not by being punished into silence. The reason backtalk feels so triggering is because it touches something deep in adults. It feels like loss of authority. But true authority doesn't come from fear. It comes from trust. And trust is built in moments exactly like this. If you grew up in a home where backtalk was punished harshly, this approach may feel wrong. It may feel like weakness. But many adults who were punished for tone learned to suppress emotion, not regulate it. They learned silence, not communication. This is your chance to break that cycle. One day, your child will be a teenager. One day, they will be an adult. And the way you respond to their emotions now will determine whether they come to you later or hide from you. That relationship is built in small moments, not big lectures. Backtalk is not a failure of discipline. It is a request for connection wrapped in frustration. When you respond with calm acknowledgement, you teach your child something far more powerful than obedience. You teach them how to handle strong emotions without hurting others. This 3-second response won't feel satisfying at first. There is no instant victory, no dramatic shutdown. But what you get instead is something better. You get long-term change. You get a child who feels safe enough to speak honestly and regulated enough to speak respectfully. The next time your child talks back, pause, breathe, say I hear you're upset, and watch what happens. Not just in that moment, but over time. Because the goal of parenting is not to win arguments. It is to raise a human who can handle emotions without harming relationships. And one day, when your child disagrees with you calmly instead of snapping, when they explain instead of shouting, when they trust you enough to tell you what they're feeling instead of hiding it, you'll realize something important. The words that once felt like disrespect were never the problem. They were the doorway, and you finally chose to walk through it instead of slamming it shut.